All right, let's go back and see how the Sterling net point power rankings has everybody stacked up. We're just doing the teams that are playing here. So bear with me a minute as we pull that up. All right, how visible is that to you?
That's pretty good. I like that.
You like that? Excellent, excellent. Okay. Sterling net point power rankings, and because there's so little games, we have all of the different areas that we look at for the teams, and we can kind of cross-reference a few different things here. Excuse me, and take a look at it. But let's start over here to the left. Team NP stands for net points. As you can see, of the 8 teams that are playing, the Baltimore Ravens have the highest net points. Now, again, these are average net points. The reason we had to do that is because you had a couple teams, Green Bay and Kansas City, who had buys. And so we didn't want to do gross net points because that would not have added up correctly. So we have average net points. And, if you want to know what the gross is, think about the number of games they played, multiply the net points by that, and that's your total net point differential. So if you look at Baltimore, for example, at 10 net points, having played 17 games, that'd be 17 times 10. So you're talking about a gross number of 170?
170.
170. So sometimes we do gross when everybody's number of games is the same. So we have Baltimore at first, followed by the New Orleans Saints, 9.2. Green Bay Packers coming in at 8.8. Tampa Bay at 8.5. Buffalo at 7.6. Kansas City at 6.9. The LA Rams at 5.1. And the Cleveland Browns at an even 0. And I looked at that and I'm like, wait a minute. Because, I had to make sure all my information was correct. And I looked and they were minus 11 last week.
Okay.
So they moved up.
Right. They were on the minus ledger. I remember that.
Yeah, they were only team in the playoffs on the minus ledger. And they won by 11, which put them at net point 0. So of the 8 teams, they are in last place. Next to that, you have our points for. You can see who the scoring leader is, Green Bay Packers, followed by the Bills, Tampa Bay. New Orleans, Kansas City are both tied at 29.6. Baltimore is coming in at 28.7, Cleveland 26.8, and the Rams are the lowest scoring team of the weekend at 23.6, but they're the number 1 team on defense. In points against, they are only giving up, actually they're tied with the Ravens at 18.6 points per game allowed. The Saints are coming in at 20.4 in third, Tampa Bay 22.2, Kansas City at 22.6. The Packers 23.1 points per game, coming in at 6. The Buffalo Bills 23.5. And Cleveland, again, in last place at 26.8 points per game, points allowed per game. But then when we go to the next column, Cleveland comes in number 1 in turnover differential at 0.6. Not a big difference between the point differential, especially when you're looking at it on an average basis. But Baltimore is number 1 at 0.6. New Orleans and Green Bay are tied 2 and 3 at 0.5. The Packers and the Chiefs are tied at 4th and 5th at 0.4. The Baltimore Ravens and Buffalo are tied at 0.2 for 6th and 7th place, and 8th place is being brought up by the Rams, who are the only team with a negative turnover differential number. That's what tied is. If I said tied and didn't say what that means, as I usually do, and then I get reprimanded for it. But that's our favorite person. But anyway, Benny, what you got on the rankings here?
I'm not going to say anything about Todd. I don't want to encourage you. So when you look at the net point column, the first team you see is Baltimore. The next team you see is New Orleans. Possible Super Bowl matchup? Perhaps, because
Mayhaps.
overall in net points, those are the two strongest teams at the time. However, Green Bay, being a number one seed in the NFC, are sitting right there at third and poised, so they can't be counted out. But neither can Tampa Bay. Oh my goodness, it's great. So if I try to figure out what's going to happen, I'll go over the points for first. Green Bay, obviously, having not even played last week, is still sitting at number one in points for. But Buffalo, right behind them. Green Bay, Buffalo Super Bowl, you may ask? Quite possible. I love it when we got a lot of possibilities. And the next two teams down, Tampa Bay and New Orleans, they meet up this week. That's great. You look at points against. The Rams sitting at the top. Best scoring defense of the teams that are left. Oh, excuse me. They're tied with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
As we expected at the beginning of the season, and it has held true all the way down to the postseason. But the surprising defense of the New Orleans Saints have only given up 20.4 points per game. And there's Tampa Bay sitting at 22.2. I don't know. Rams, Ravens, perhaps? No, I don't think so. But we haven't mentioned Cleveland. And Cleveland leads in turnover differential. And it's not a big lead, but it is a lead. And they've been up there. So Cleveland, after last week's win and the fact that they're sitting at the top of turnover differential, I have to give them respect. Now, true, they did ravage Ben Roethlisberger last week. I'm sure that helped. I don't know if I would call it a skew, but man, they put something on them. So I got to give Cleveland their respect.
The only thing about that, some of those interceptions, the Steelers have been struggling in the last quarter or so of the season, dropping balls.
Yep.
And some of those interceptions were just balls off of people's hands. Now, Ben was off too. So at least one or two was just thrown too high or just, but wow, it's crazy, man.
Very crazy. Very crazy.
All right. So I guess the thing that surprises me, and we always talk about this, is how the Rams are coming in at last in turnover differential, but first on defense, and Baltimore's not much better at 0.2. So, the one thing you can say probably about this weekend, parity.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I would venture to guess, though, that a team that turns the ball over a lot, and when I say that, I mean takeaways, tends to help their offense more in the points for category as opposed to the points against. I mean, that's arguable, but you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay. So the Sterling Pro Football Net Point Power Rankings for January 12th, 2021. You can find these rankings at the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings Facebook page. I'll be posting all of this information there for your further perusal. How you like that word, Benny? All right. So next up, we're going to talk about the actual Bias Plus report. Again, Bias Plus report takes these numbers that we have for the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings. It takes the numbers, the net points, and the turnover differential, puts that information together to come up with a Bias Plus score. And the bias will favor the team with the greater of net points and or turnover differential. So that's how that basically works. It's a simple process. We try to keep it that way. But considering that we killed that we smashed the, what's that called in gambling again?
Red.
The spread. Not a gambler. What can I tell you? Not a gambler. You know what I mean? Considering that we smashed the spread, not bad. All right.